Imagine standing near the edge of a crowded room. The ambient noise is a thick, impenetrable wall of overlapping chatter, punctuated by the occasional forced laugh or the sharp clinking of glass. You are not in distress, but you are acutely observant. You are scanning the perimeter, not necessarily looking for an immediate exit, but rather seeking a quiet anchor point in a sea of overwhelming sensory input. Then, the inevitable happens. The perimeter is breached. Someone approaches. They lock eyes, they deploy a practiced, socially acceptable smile, and they launch the ultimate weapon of modern, frictionless interaction. So, how about this weather we've been having? Or perhaps they use the equally devastating, mind-numbing alternative. So, what do you do for work? In a fraction of a second, your entire internal landscape shifts dramatically from a state of quiet, peaceful observation to a state of profound, silent exhaustion. You smile back. You nod your head. You engage your carefully calibrated, socially acceptable autopilot. But underneath that perfectly constructed exterior mask, a completely different reality is violently unfolding. You are not thinking about the rain, the heat, or the barometric pressure. You are not thinking about your job title or your corporate responsibilities. You are experiencing a distinct visceral drain on your cognitive battery. You are rapidly calculating the absolute minimum required response to satisfy this unspoken social contract without inviting further mundane inquiry. It feels exactly as though you are being forced to read the dictionary out loud when you are desperately yearning to read a profound philosophical novel. It feels like you are trapped on a treadmill that is slowly, agonizingly, draining your finite life force, one meaningless, recycled syllable at a time. The air around you suddenly feels thick and heavy. The conversation feels incredibly hollow, and you are left standing there, wondering, yet again, why a simple exchange of basic words feels like a grueling physical endurance test. You watch the other person closely. They seem entirely energized by this. They seem genuinely, bafflingly invested in the superficial exchange of these empty pleasantries. They are thriving in the shallow waters. Meanwhile, you are quietly, desperately gasping for intellectual air, simply waiting for the polite, culturally acceptable moment to excuse yourself and escape. You are not alone in experiencing this silent phenomenon. Not by a long shot. Society has a very specific and highly inaccurate vocabulary for people who operate this way. If you instinctively recoil from small talk, if you find yourself physically migrating away from the epicenter of idle chatter, you are quickly branded with a litany of unfavorable, pathologizing labels. You are called aloof. You are called intimidating. You are told by peers and family members that you are unapproachable, overly serious, intensely difficult, or perhaps even entirely antisocial. People observing your quiet demeanor might incorrectly assume you think you are too good for them, or that you are simply incapable of basic human connection and warmth. The extroverted ideal, which violently dominates modern Western culture and corporate environments, dictates that constant, low-level verbal engagement is the absolute baseline for psychological health and social integration. If you do not actively participate in the endless flowing stream of pleasantries, the immediate assumption is that something is fundamentally broken within you. You are treated as the glitch in the social matrix. You are the squeaky wheel that refuses to turn with the machine. But let us entirely, completely dismantle that damaging narrative right now, using the cold, hard lens of science. That aversion is not a personality flaw. That is neural wiring. Your intense hatred for discussing the weekend traffic, the latest office gossip, or the predictability of the seasons is not a moral failing or a sign of social ineptitude. It is a biological, neurological reality. Your brain is simply running a completely different biological operating system than the extroverted majority surrounding you. It is an operating system highly optimized for depth, not for breadth. While the rest of the world demands constant superficial verbal pinging to establish a sense of social safety and hierarchy, your nervous system interprets that exact same pinging as static. It is noise. It is interference. You are not broken, you are not deficient, and you are not missing a crucial human component. You are simply refusing to process low-quality data. To truly understand why you feel this profound physical aversion, we have to stop looking at small talk as a mere social skill and start looking at it as a complex neurological event. We have to look under the hood of human cognition. When we do, The illusion of your so-called awkwardness completely shatters, revealing a highly specialized, deeply analytical mind that is simply executing a brilliant strategy to protect its most valuable resource. Let us examine the exact microscopic mechanics of your brain during these encounters. At the very core of this phenomenon is the dopamine reward system. For a highly social, conventionally extroverted brain, small talk acts as a steady, reliable drip of dopamine. Every nod of agreement, every shared, trivial complaint about the weather, every surface-level validation triggers a microdose of this powerful neurochemical. It feels rewarding to them. It feels fundamentally safe. It signals tribal belonging and social cohesion. But your brain does not synthesize dopamine from superficial, predictable interactions. Your baseline reward threshold is set differently, calibrated for a much higher frequency of meaning. Your dopamine receptors simply do not fire when discussing the mundane. They remain entirely dormant. Instead of feeling energized and uplifted by the exchange, you feel absolutely nothing at all. Or, even worse, you feel the distinct, alarming sensation of your vital cognitive resources being forcefully diverted for absolutely no measurable return on investment. This is precisely where the prefrontal cortex comes into play. This is the highly evolved region of your brain responsible for complex cognitive behavior, executive function, decision-making, and moderating social behavior. For you, engaging in small talk requires a massive, sustained exertion of prefrontal cortex energy. Because the interaction is not naturally rewarding, you have to consciously, manually suppress your natural biological inclination to seek depth. You have to artificially manufacture interest out of thin air. You have to manually pilot a conversation that other people are able to run on effortless, automatic pilot. This is incredibly neurologically taxing. It is the biological equivalent of driving a finely tuned, high-performance sports car in first gear through endless, gridlocked traffic. The engine is roaring. You are burning immense amounts of high-octane fuel, but you are effectively going nowhere. Furthermore, we must look at a crucial neurological framework known as the default mode network, or the DMN. This is the intricate network in your brain that becomes highly active when you are not intensely focused on the outside, external world. It is the seat of daydreaming, deep internal reflection, self-analysis, and complex, abstract problem-solving. People who despise small talk almost universally possess highly active, robust default mode networks. Your brain heavily prefers to inhabit this rich space of deep, internal processing. When someone interrupts this highly efficient, perfectly balanced introspective state to ask you a trivial question about your weekend plans, it is not just annoying. It is a violent neurological disruption. Your brain is aggressively forced to abruptly shut down its deep processing mode, rapidly allocate vast resources to auditory processing, formulate a socially acceptable, non-threatening response, and physically perform the act of engagement. It is a severe cognitive shock. Your brain literally interprets small talk not as a friendly overture, but as an energetic threat. It is an uninvited demand for resources that yield zero intellectual or emotional return. Therefore, your aversion is not a phobia or an anxiety disorder. It is an advanced, deeply ingrained evolutionary conservation strategy. Your nervous system is exquisitely tuned to detect inefficiencies. It instantly recognizes that exchanging empty words is a biologically expensive task with absolutely no survival, intellectual, or growth value. Your brain is aggressively, brilliantly guarding its bandwidth, reserving its processing power for conversations that actually matter, for complex problems that require solving, and for rare human connections that offer genuine emotional and intellectual resonance. This profound neurological reality creates an intense, entirely invisible friction in your daily life. You are existing in a world that is completely, fundamentally misaligned with your biological imperatives. Modern society, from the ground up, is constructed around the endless, obligatory exchange of pleasantries. Corporate office environments, mandatory social gatherings, networking events, and even brief, accidental encounters at the grocery store, they all universally demand active participation in the ritual of small talk. And because you are an adaptable, highly intelligent human being who understands the rules of survival, you comply. You learn the invisible scripts. You practice the correct, non-threatening facial expressions. You master the exhausting art of the polite nod, the appropriately timed, agreeable chuckle. In the realm of psychology, this is known as masking. Masking is the deliberate, or socially compliant. It is a full-time performance. And it requires an astronomical, almost incomprehensible amount of emotional labor. When you finally return home from a networking event or a mandatory family gathering, that bone-deep, crushing exhaustion you feel is not physical tiredness. It is profound cognitive depletion. You have spent hours meticulously acting in a play you never auditioned for, reciting poorly written lines you do not believe in, to an audience you do not truly wish to entertain. The sheer, crushing weight of that constant self-monitoring, the immense effort required to constantly maintain the fragile illusion of superficial engagement, utterly drains your reserves. You are left running on toxic fumes, completely devoid of the vital energy needed for the deep, meaningful pursuits that actually bring your life, joy, and purpose. This exhaustion is not in your head. It is a physical, biological reality. It is a measurable state of cognitive fatigue, often contributing to a heavy allostatic load, the physiological wear and tear on the body caused by chronic, low-grade stress. The societal demand for small talk forces you to constantly, violently override your own nervous system's warning signals. You are caught in a perpetual, exhausting loop of overexertion and complete understimulation. You are starving for philosophical depth while simultaneously drowning in a vast, inescapable sea of shallowness. People around you wonder why you consistently slip away early from parties, why you require entire days of total isolation to recover from a single social event, or why you vastly prefer the quiet, predictable company of a book, a complex project, or your own rich thoughts over a crowded, noisy room. They inevitably, narcissistically view your withdrawal as a direct rejection of them. But it is not a rejection. It is a desperate, biologically necessary retreat to recharge a complex battery that the world has systematically, relentlessly drained. It is the absolute necessary silence required to recalibrate a mind that operates strictly and unapologetically on the frequency of meaning. It is time to permanently stop apologizing for how your brain is brilliantly built. You are not broken. You lack absolutely nothing. You have simply, consciously or unconsciously, opted out of a deeply flawed, incredibly superficial societal game. Your intense intolerance for small talk is not a weakness. It is a quiet, formidable superpower. It is an advanced psychological mechanism that violently rejects the inauthentic and fiercely demands the real. You possess a mind that hungers for true substance, a nervous system that ruthlessly prioritizes truth over social comfort, and a fundamental nature that refuses to be starved by the mundane. Recognize this reality. Own this intellectual architecture. If this breakdown resonated with you, if you have spent your entire life feeling exhausted by the constant noise and starving for the quiet depth, drop a comment below. Tell me the absolute most exhausting, repetitive small talk question you are forced to answer on a daily basis. Let's find our people in the comments. You are not weird. You are not difficult. You are not overly intense. You are deeply, profoundly valid. You are exactly who you are supposed to be.